Welcome to the far corner of the Omniverse. Hope you enjoy your stay. Iriso is the man who never breaks a promise. He uses this skill to run a social justice organization known as Odd Jobs. Unfortunately for him and his clients, something always goes wrong. But with his overwhelming willpower, he fights for the happiness of all in need. Bar Fiction presents RAINBAD. Are you saying there's a promise you can't keep? On Friday afternoons at Rainbow Plaza, you could rarely hear a pin drop until Ms.Moonflower asked Iriso, the man who never breaks a promise, that question. No. And Iriso made sure he projected his voice so everyone could hear. I'm saying your request is a promise I won't make. The crowd's volume returned to normal. Making you more beautiful isn't concrete enough, he explained. Please try to make your request. Most of the plaza goers cut him off. As specific and tangible as possible. Iriso laughed while shaking his head a little. Okay then, Marin replied. Can you get rid of the mamelons on my two front teeth? They make them look so raggedy. He looked uneasy. That's more of a dentist job. I picked up a few dental techniques over the years, but not my strength. I can refer you to... I already looked into every dentist in epilogue. I can't afford the procedure for any of them. How about my belly fat? Can you train me to get it off? She was already as thin as a blade of grass. What had this poor woman been told already? My regimens would actually put weight on you. I can give you positive words of encouragement and affirmation, but there's only so much I can say. So... He reaches for papers behind his desk with eating disorder and body image resources. I recommend checking these out as soon as possible. Iriso gave a reassuring smile and gesture. She sighed. Okay, thanks. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, Marin. Marin Moonflower was considered gorgeous by most people she met. She had almond brown skin, chocolate curly hair that flowed halfway down her back, and striking violet eyes. She had an hourglass figure, lashes as long as a dime, and she can count on two hands the number of people who got themselves stung by bees, wasps, and hornets to achieve the fullness in her lips. Her core couldn't tell the highest stiletto from the lowest flat. Marin decided to walk into Pink Souls to take her mind off her body. Maybe there was a new Game Girl mod out. But when she went in, she was bombarded with figures, posters, and covers of characters with her dream body. The body she got up at 3 a.m. to exercise for. The body she ate a meal a day for. But it was always just out of reach. Polly, the store owner, noticed how sad Marin was and went over to try and brighten her day. Hey girl, love your outfit. It's like it was made for you. Marin gave Polly her prettiest smile. Thank you. But her thoughts began to race. What did she mean by that? This is a bigger version of an outfit that's not my size anymore. Who is she to talk anyway? Jealous much, sweetie? She continued her polite masquerade for a bit, then excused herself to the bathroom. Pink Souls had one small restroom. She didn't have to go, she just wanted some alone time, and now. She locked the door and got lost in her own reflection, calculating how much money she'd have to make to be perfect, and how long it would take. Then she heard Polly's voice. Mary, you okay? Yeah, she said. Almost done. Her hand ran for her phone. She had been in there for 45 minutes. Embarrassed, she fake flushed, washed her hands, then felt an icy finger tap her on the shoulder. For a moment, she stopped every voluntary muscle. Then her gaze slowly traveled towards the mirror. But aside from her in the bathroom, there was nothing there. She slowly turned around to see a hooded figure, almost as tall as the ceiling in front of the door. Their hood was half black on the left, half white on the right. Polly checked again. You sure you're all right in there? The figure put a gray and extremely wrinkled finger with a long chipped nail over where their mouth would be and slowly shook their head. More scared than she had ever been in her life, she obliges. Yeah, I just had some jalapeno ice cream at 449. You know how it is. Say less, Polly responded. The cloaked figure lifted their arm. It was the longest arm Marin had ever seen. In it was a black business card with white lettering. She instinctively moved back a bit, and the being stopped their arm once arriving at her nose, which got paper cut by the card. Just wanting whatever this ordeal was to be over with as quickly as possible, she accepted the card, stained with her own blood, with a polite snatch. It read, "The First Thaumaturgic Church of East Epilogue, 535 Serpent Street. Pastor, Angelo Diablo, Master of Miracles." A fraction of her fear melted into intrigue. Could this Angelo Diablo give her the body of her dreams? Intrigue evaporating into resolve, she started for the door, and was momentarily taken aback when she saw that the hooded figure was gone. On her next day off, Marin went to the church around 10 a.m. when most of the city had begun stirring. Breakfast was her meal of the day, but she was so eager that she skipped it. Upon one's initial impression of First Thaumaturgic, say walking or riding past it, they wouldn't give it a second thought. It was an overcast, gray building with average upkeep. Its spires were a bit dull, most gargoyles missing anatomy. All the effort to give glory to a higher power seemed to go into its stained glass windows, which Marin wanted a closer look at. She approached an enormous, archaic wooden door and knocked. After 6 minutes of silence, the door slowly opened, sprinkled with a creaking that wasn't especially loud, but hurt her ears. Marin entered into the church. Instead of any sign of an opener, she saw various decorations that adorned the vestibule. There were paintings, busts, a table of tracts and pamphlets, fake plants that were organized on the burgundy carpeting that spread throughout the church. The building was illuminated only from the filtered light of external sources and ignited candles here and there. Its sanctuary doors were wide open. She cautiously entered in. "Hello? I was given a card." A silence replied. She made her way to the curious windows on the left-hand side, and the first one she got a better look at almost stopped her heart. Another depicted the story of Legion. Others adapted scenes from the Book of Revelation. A few illustrated hell in a way that was so alien to any canon or denomination, yet could not be mistaken by anyone for anywhere else. "Good morning." Marin dropped her purse and phone, head darting for the greeting. The salutation came from a smiling, tall, thin priest standing in front of the chancel. He had hair like the hooded entity, half white on the right, half black on the left. He wore a white one-piece jumpsuit with a clerical collar that had colors inverted from the norm. There was a grand black shape on his torso that looked like a cross merged with one upside down. He had a belt of black beads and 2 other configurations of black beads that ran about 8 tenths down the sides of his loose, harem-like bottoms. He looked rich in years and simultaneously virile, with a countenance that Marin wasn't sure should put her at ease or terrify her. "I am Angelo Diablo, Pastor of First Thaumaturgic, Master of Miracles," he said with a bow. "Whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with?" "Ms.Moonflower. One of your, friends gave me your card." "How did you send them anyway? The door was locked." He stared at Marin directly in her eyes for 30 seconds with his large black pupils. "Sounds like somebody didn't knock," he said with a smile and a small laugh. Marin laughed for a handful of seconds, not remembering the last time she did so. Maybe he was just a bit eccentric. "How can I help you, Miss Moonflower?" She attempted about 5 drafts before finally saying, "I don't just want to be beautiful, I want to be the absence of ugly." He momentarily furrowed his brows, then gifted her a warm smile. "I have just the thing. Be right back." He disappeared into her door on the right of the chancel. Marin was elated at whatever magic he was going to work, but there were still pieces of fear that hadn't evaporated. After about 6 minutes, Angela returned with an intricate, gorgeous black necklace that resembled a flower, with a red jewel in the center. "This is the eye of the beholder," Marin smirked at the name. "Really?" He chuckled knowingly. No doubt a well-worn phrase at this point in history, but these necklaces predate the first recorded instance of their namesake. Marin tilted her head. "Okay." In essence, when it comes to beauty, most people will never even touch the letter B. What the majority perceive as a 10 is in actuality a mere 2. This treasure can turn up the volume, so to speak, and keep it there, at 10, beyond Y. There's records of 12 to exist, but only half of them have been reported found. This is the only one in Epilogue. Probably for the best. Not everyone deserves such a treasure. You're very lucky, my dear. Marin still had reservations. How much? Angelo gifted her another warm smile. At first thaumaturgic, service is his own reward. He hands her the necklace and she accepts his treasure. Do you have a mirror I could borrow? He instructs her on how to find the bathrooms, and to her moderate surprise, even the windowless hall was illuminated by little drops of fire and lamps, candles, and similar devices she didn't know the name for. The bathroom was as bright as could be expected, but it was enough for her to see herself. It looked a bit more modern than most of the church, with familiar toilets and sinks. She went straight for the full-body mirror. She puts on the necklace, and when she saw her reflection, she fell on her knees. Her eye bags were gone, and in place of her mammalians was a smooth continuity. Her hair now had a brilliant gloss and shine. Her lips somehow became fuller, and she was glowing in places she hadn't even considered improving. And there were new attributes and features she couldn't even describe. She ran back into the sanctuary, tears in her eyes, to thank the priest. No, thank you, he replied. Leaving the church, Marin had never been so happy. She was well accustomed to compliments, catcalls, car horns, numbers, and social media requested and received, but now that number had quadrupled. Her followers skyrocketed, and she was emailed a plethora of business inquiries. She went clubbing that night, and after an hour, she noticed about a third of the people were recording with their phones out, a third were trying to copy her moves harder than her shadow, and a third were fighting to get near her. She felt like queen of the world. She got a ride home, did her nightly routine, took the necklace off, and went to bed, ending her favorite day. The next morning began with a scream that all of Epilogue City heard. You're listening to Far Fiction. Hey lovely listeners, Farley here. Enjoying your stay? Picking up what we were putting down? Visit patreon.com/Project Far, or you can buy us a coffee. Links in the description below to support the channel. The future of the Farverse depends on it, so no pressure. Thanks for listening! Now, back to the show. Marin gazed at the mirror with horror and disbelief. Her eye bags had gotten bigger, with dark circles decorating them underneath. Her lips looked deflated, hair and skin looking like a drought. She called in sick, showered, put on a face mask, sunglasses, and headscarf along with her outfit, and didn't even touch the necklace out of fear of what it might do next. She went to First Thaumaturgic as fast as she could. As she entered, she heard piano music, a familiar hymn she couldn't quite place. She stormed into the sanctuary where she found the player, Angelo Diablo. What the hell? He stopped playing and faced her. Miss Moonflower, lovely to see you. Though I take it you don't come to church very often, he said in a friendly tone. Don't give me that crap! You cursed me first, you son of a... She swung at him, but he effortlessly caught her fist and locked it in a tight, painful squeeze. Miss Moonflower, I am here to serve, he said gently. Be angry if you must, but I strongly recommend you sin not. He let go, and Marin took a deep breath. Sorry, Pastor. I'm just extremely concerned about the necklace you gave me. Look at me. She takes off her facial coverings. Please, fix this. Angelo Diablo lets out a hearty laugh. Oh, my dear, weren't you listening yesterday? Very well, I shall explain again. The eye, in conjunction with your body, is like a flower. It must be watered with the energy around you. Your words and actions are the watering can. Nasty thoughts entered Marin's mind, and she grew a smile to match. Understood. Thank you, Pastor. But I don't remember you saying... Then listen next time, he interrupted politely as he went back to his piano. Later at Rainbow Plaza, Polly is showing Iriso a new Game Girl mod at the Odd Jobs test that he promised to test out. It plays great, Polly. You seamlessly fuse Atomic and Marino's gameplay. Very impressive. Polly shyly smiled. Thank you, I did my best. Then her smile deflated when she noticed. Hey, Iriso, pause it right quick. What's up with everybody? Iriso looked up to see the plaza goers looking exhausted, about to pass out. Some even lying on the ground. I don't know yet, but I promise you I will soon. His gaze turned to the only lively one in the plaza, aside from them, Marin, looking like she just broke Aphrodite's heart. She approached the desk. Hi! Oh, Polly, honey, you've gained so much weight. Try gum instead of yum, sweetie. Polly fell to the ground suddenly, unconscious. Iriso rushed to her side. Polly, are you all right? That's what happens when you let yourself go, Marin said, flipping her hair. Marin, what's gotten into you? You're acting like a bounder, he said with a warning tone. She rolled her eyes. Sounds like a you problem. She noticed Iriso had yet to show any signs of weakness, meaning he must be full of energy. She took a seat on his desk. Why are you always hiding your face, honey? She said, reaching for his face. You must be like the god of chopped. He smacked her hand away. Then out of the blue, Rainbow Plaza was being robbed. A gang of cowboys on motorcycles drove into every store, crashing through every door. Iriso jumped on his desk. I swear, they won't get away with this. Suddenly, Iriso felt weak as Marin grabbed his leg. She felt a powerful rush, like she never felt before. She didn't just feel gorgeous, she felt stronger, too. Her mind started racing. With his power, she really could be queen of the world. No, a goddess. Then she heard a loud cracking noise coming from her necklace. Iriso's energy overloaded the eye and it exploded. Marin and Iriso were sent flying apart. Iriso's energy returned to him and he went after the cowboys. Marin was rendered unconscious. A few hours later, she awoke in a dark room. Her hand sprinted for her neck. It's gone, Marin, Iriso said. Where am I? What's going on? Iriso took a deep breath. I'm so sorry, Marin, but the explosion took your sight. They were in a hospital room, Polly asleep in the other bed. Marin was at a loss for words. There was a silence that didn't want to go home. Finally, Iriso said, If you need to talk, feel free to airplane or come by Odd Jobs, but please don't be like earlier today. I gotta go. Take care, Marin. After he left, Marin swore that she would have her revenge. Night had fallen. Iriso deduced that the necklace was the source of the energy draining. Luckily, there were remnants of the necklace that had part of a unique seal on it that he had only seen outside of one place. Iriso kicked open the door, first thaumaturgic. In the sanctuary, Angelo was playing his piano with double the candles ignited. Iriso stormed in. Are we allergic to knocking? The pastor said, not even looking up. Shut up, bounder. What the hell did you do to Marin? The pastor stopped playing and gave a soft chuckle. Everyone wants to get struck by lightning today, he said as he got up and faced Iriso. I gave her what she wanted. She saw all the effects, good and bad, and still asked for more. So what exactly is your quarrel with me? Iriso gritted his teeth. She was being a jerk, but you added fuel to the fire. And I know about your little elevator pitch at Pinksel's. Angelo actually looked a bit impressed about that. The only thing I can't put together is your motive, but honestly, I don't care! He charged at Angelo, then jumped in the air. Down, Giramento! He swung his foot down, fulfilling the promise, but Roth window! Angelo casted a grand circle of energy, colored almost every shade of red that looked like a cross between a shield and a stained glass window. It was adorned with entire swords of different shapes and sizes protruding from its surface. Iriso's foot connected with the spell as it descended, fulfilling the promise, but it pierced his foot. At the same time, Angelo backhanded his entire body with the shield. Iriso was launched and flipped back to the sanctuary doors. As Iriso was struggling to get up, Angelo walked behind the pulpit and turned on the mic. Then why didn't you just ask, dear boy? Asking you shall receive, you know. Here at First Thaumaturgic, we are nothing if not hospitable, so why didn't I just go ahead and tell you? Iriso coughs up blood. Step on the gas, pastor! Diablo sticks out his hand and casts another spell. Lust lightning! And a blue cylindrical blast of lightning is summoned from his hand and strikes Iriso. Normally it would pursue his target until struck, but Iriso didn't have the energy to move, and he screams in pain. Somehow still conscious, he falls back onto the floor. Angelo Diablo smiles for miles, and the sermon continues. You see, this world is a double-edged sword. Good only exists in the shadow of evil. You want to travel long distances in as little time as possible? Well, that's going to have to hurt the environment. You want a vast variety of delicious foods? Expeditious agriculture? then lesser animals must pay the price. You want to be alive? Then you strive to be the biggest hammer, or you become the lowliest nail. Here's my damn motivation. I love evil. This world loves evil, and most importantly of all, God loves evil. Then the joy escaped his face when he saw Iriso stand up. He made his way down from the pulpit to centimeters from Iriso's face. Then he said, stabbing with every syllable, "And I wouldn't have it any other way." Iriso stood his ground unflinching. Then the priest gave him a grotesque expression, a cruel parody of a smile. "Now, is there anything else I can do for you, Iriso?" "Don't get comfortable," he said. Then he walked out of the church. Before reaching the entrance, Iriso heard, "Please, I've already taken my shoes off." Hope you enjoyed your stay. Subscribe and like to keep the portal to the Farverse open, and thanks for watching. Take care, lovely listeners. Later.